Hey guys, and welcome to how to paint pale flesh on a Skaven Assassin. Okay, so I've had a few people ask, a few of the viewers out there, you guys asking about, the flesh I did on the how to paint jade on the other Skaven Assassin. So, I thought, okay, well, we'll do a video on that. We'll do the skin. Now on that one, the skin was a little bit more developed, so I'm not going to show you how to do that exactly, but a very close version of that skin. Something that's more in line for batch painting or larger scale painting, because you don't want to be mixing colors back and forth when you're doing a lot of Skaven models. If you've got like hundreds to do, you don't want to be doing that. So you want a bit more of an efficient, technique to get the skin done. But if you are looking to do a more pale flesh style, then I've got a little recipe here that you can try, and it will be relatively efficient, not speed painting level, but enough to do, let's say, 10, 20, 30 models in this color across your army. And that's something that I would suggest, is to vary it up. You don't want to have the same skin tone across all of the Skaven models, so you want to give yourself a bit of variety over all of those hundreds that you got to do. So this is just one version of skin you could try. Now, in addition, as an optional step, after we do this basic layering process with these purples and pale flesh tones, we're going to do some shade color glazing like I've shown before, just to give you a little bit of extra color there if you want to do it. But if you were doing, let's say, a batch of clan rats or whatever, you may not do that. But on some of your more character models, you might go back in and add a bit more color. You can also do that with normal paints as well and do the glazing that way. But I thought the shade color is just a nice non-destructive way to add a little bit of color and variation, especially if you're new or you don't know how to do those sort of things necessarily. That's a good way to begin, just to learn about the different ways you can influence colors on the surface of your model. So I thought that'd be fun. So we'll go through, do this one here, and then we'll do a bit of shade colors at the end and take a look at him and see how we go. Now for this one, you probably already, you would have seen the thumbnail. We're doing a blue ninja for this one. So now I've got a green ninja, a blue ninja, and a black ninja. That's pretty cool. If we can think of another tutorial to do for a yellow ninja, for another assassin, that'd be pretty cool. But I think that's pretty good. Doing a blue one's pretty cool. So that's what we're going to do for his clothing. All right. Well, let's get started on this flesh, eh? Okay, so I'll bring you in here just live with me while we do the setup. So we've got the colors here. We've got the Royal Purple from Vallejo. We've got the Grimnar Purple from Army Painter. And we've got Corpse Pale here, one of my favorite colors from Army Painter as well. And just some white. So I'm using Army Painter's one here, but you could use Vallejo, whatever brand you want, GW, doesn't matter. So we've got these 4 colors here. And so it's a very simple gradient. We're going to start with the purple straight and do a base coat. And we'll go through that in a second. But then we've got a little steps here. Now, it does seem like a lot, but it will speed up as you go if you're doing these in batches. But it's very simple. We've got the Grimnar Purple here, which is going to go on for our sort of base tone, and we'll be leaving some of the purple there in the shadows. And then we've mixed in the Grimnar, the Corpse Pale into that, sort of like a 50-50. And then we've, without cleaning the brush out, I've then grabbed some more of this, the Corpse Pale, and made a sort of off Corpse Pale color, and then added white in without cleaning the brush off again, or just loosely cleaning it. So we're sort of getting an influence of the colors before it as we go up. So it's not pure Corpse Pale here. It's got a little bit of influence of that purple running through it. And then finally some white mixed in here. So we're looking at the ratios are something like 50-50, 3/4, 1/4-ish, and then sort of mostly pure Corpse Pale with the white mixed in, so maybe a quarter white mixed in, and then more white into here. So you're just trying to get a stepped layering process there from dark to light, and you won't necessarily go up all the way on every Skaven model, but let's say for slightly more character-like models, you might use all of these, or you might stop somewhere in the middle here if you're doing like clan rats, that sort of thing. But it'll give you some nice intense purples in the shadows, and some paler tones and lighter tones on the tops of all the muscle groups and so on across the model. All right, so let's get started, eh? All right, so we're starting with that base, that Royal Purple, and you're just going to paint all of the flesh areas with it and give it a nice coating of that nice Royal Purple. And this is going to give us our intensity of the shadows, the rich purples, and that's really what you want. Because as we move up through the pale tones, that's going to be more desaturated. Yes, we're going to come back in with those shade colors, but initially we want to see some richer purple there. So we just get all that locked down, and then once we've got a good purple base, then we move into our first real layer color, or a base layer color for the flesh, which is the Grimnar purple. And so with this one, now you're paying attention to all the muscle groups. You're, hitting all those areas across the top of the hand, the fingers, etc., and really delineating out the anatomy on the Skaven. And then once we've sort of gotten to a point where we're happy with that, and we've got enough of that royal purple showing through in those deepest areas, around the muscle groups, that sort of thing, then we move into our first real sort of lighter layer tone, not quite a highlight yet, but a really good modulation layer, let's call it. So that's that Grimnar purple mixed with the corpse pale, and now we're building in our light. So you're looking more at the top surfaces. You can see I'm feathering it and flicking it around to create a bit of texture on the surface, simulating that fur aspect of Skaven, and just really hitting those top surfaces across the top of the knuckles, etc., the end of the nose there, the ears, all of that sort of thing, and trying to really get some good light down. And then once we've sorted that out, then we move into our almost corpse power color, which is really where we start to highlight. So you're moving down a brush, you're starting to really focus on those top areas across the knuckles, the face, the focal point, the top surfaces of all those muscle groups, the segments across the top of the tail, that sort of thing, and really just giving it its full form. So you're going to let those undersides slip away into darkness, into that deep purple. You're not going to worry about it too much. We're moving at speed here, trying to get this done quickly. So once we've got all that sorted out, then we move into our final stages of highlights, which is the white mixed in for that corpse pale. And now we're really looking at just the real raised sections. We're trying to hit the ends of the knuckles, the top of the bicep and the shoulder there, the end of the nose, tops of the feet, etc. Anywhere where you've got a really prominent raised surface, around, especially paying attention to the focal point, which is the face, all of those sorts of areas, and just getting some good light in. And then finally, a spot highlight mixed with more white. And so this is just hitting the end of the nose, the ears, the knuckles. You see me just going around and dabbing it here and there, just to really bring out some of those key areas around the model, from the feet up to the knees, up to the face, etc., over to the arms and the hands, that sort of thing, just to really punch that end part of that detail, the tip of the tail, that sort of thing, to really finish it off. Okay, and now the optional steps. So we've got those shade colors out. We've got that Lamia medium ready to mix it in. And we're starting off with the Carrierberg Crimson, and then we're going to move on to the Drukhari Violet, the Drakenhof Nightshade, and then the Casadora, I think it's called, Yellow. So we're starting with that Crimson, starting with the red, and mixing the Lamia medium. You're doing about 3-to-1 here. This is quite a thin, transparent glaze, and we're mixing it in together, and then just dabbing it around in the really deep recesses across the model, anywhere we want to see a little bit of that sort of blood coming to the surface. So areas where, around the knuckles, things like that, anything where you want to see a bit of color change. And so once you're happy with that, then we move into the purple, and again, same ratio with the Lamia medium, and we're going to be then just deepening some of those shadows, shifting the color more back into that rich purple tone where we might have lost it as we moved up in through these pale colors. And we're just adding a little bit of that around, just dabbing it lightly here and there, just to add a bit more shadow. And then once we're really happy with that, then we move into that blue. And the blue you've got to be extra careful with. Don't do too much of this. This is just really just for color correction, and just deepening some shadows and changing the color slightly here and there, just to really refocus some of the attention if you might have lost it in places. Maybe things have washed out a bit, just to help deepen some of those shadows. And then finally, once we've moved past that, then we move into our yellow. And for the yellow, this is sort of an aesthetic judgment call here on how much you want to do. Now, for me, I like to do this just for the ends of the knuckles, things like that, the end of the tail, anywhere where the bone is going to come to the surface, where the skin is very thin and stretched. And so we want to add a little bit of that discoloration. And with the yellow on the purple, you're getting a very sort of bruisey sort of look to it. So it's a very sort of like the flesh is not doing too well, and that's very appropriate for a Skaven. So I like to just dab that around. Be extra careful with the yellow because it will stain the color very quickly. So do it slowly and gently, and just a little bit at a time until you're happy with the result. And you can do this over many models, just dabbing it around in small amounts, and that'll fit in really well to the sort of the batch painting process. And there we go, some pale flesh all done on a Skaven Assassin. Let's take a look. So yeah, we've got, you know, some pretty nice colors here, and it's different from the one I did before, the Jade Ninja. It's a little bit more streamlined. We're only using one color as our undertone. In the Jade Ninja, I used multiple colors in that flesh, but I thought it was maybe not appropriate for, let's say, batch painting for Skaven, as you've got to do a lot of models. So this one's more using a single color. So we've got purple here as the undertone, and then we're adding in those little reds and yellows and so on in the shade colors over the top. And I think that works better for like a batch painting process. But you know, it still comes out very similar to that one. If you'd like to see more of these types of ones on some Skaven, that sort of thing, I mean, I still need to do a red ninja and a yellow ninja and a white ninja, so we could do some others with maybe a goal towards, let's say, your character models or your hero models where you're going to spend more time. I think with this flesh, it took about half an hour to do this flesh, so it's done a very painterly style, nice and quick, just focused on the raised areas, that sort of thing, and not getting too bogged down in all the little minutiae details that are on the Skaven skin. You're just getting the overall, the broad strokes, you know what I mean, so you can get them done, and then that leaves you that extra time then to spend on the other areas, so it doesn't take you a million years, because once again, Skaven, you know, it's a big army. If you're trying to do a 2,000 point army for Age of Sigmar or even Old World, whatever you're doing, it does take some time. So yeah, I think this one's pretty appropriate for that scale. But yeah, if you want to see more and you want to see more developed flesh tones, like mixing the colors into the flesh tones as you go, more layers, etc., then I'm happy to do those. So just let me know in the comments and we can go through that, and I can add those in. I'm happy to paint more ninjas, that's fine. So that's cool. But I hope you've enjoyed this one. Yeah, I'll leave a nice image for them at the end, and the paint list as I normally do. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Please hit that like button, subscribe button, it really helps me out. And I guess I'll catch you on the next one.